I want to tell you a story about my friend Jim+Harrell. And the reason I want to tell you this story is because some things happened to him that changed his life. And I think they can change your life as well. Jim was raised in Emporia, Kansas, a typical kid in a Midwestern town. He did well in school, was senior class president, went on to study at Kansas University. That's where I met him. And pretty soon he and Pete Oakes and I developed a good friendship. We had a lot of great times together, just what normal guys in college do.
Jim was kind of your all-American guy. He fashioned himself as an athlete and a student, and of course God blessed him with those great looks, you know.
But he's just always been real easy to talk to, easy to get to know. Very much of a caring person, very much of a people person.
He's very likable, very friendly, very personable. He always seemed to have a lot of enthusiasm.
My dad's probably the friendliest person I've ever known. And that's visible by the fact that over 300 people showed up to his birthday party.
Yes, he's crazy. No, he's not boring at all.
Great guy to have fun with, and a very creative guy.
We can just banter back and forth for hours. I mean, he's just a fun guy.
But the thing that impressed me most about Jim is his heart. There's something about Jim's heart that is like a little boy. He has a little boy heart in his love for the Heavenly Father. And I'm going to miss that heart.
If there's a word to describe Jim, I would say it was active. He has always been an active person in everything he's done. From his church to his family to work, always just busy and involved. And then something changed.
And I believe it was, in the early 2001 time frame that I noticed Jim beginning to walk differently.
I just felt like something wasn't right, and I had a little bit of a pain in the my left calf.
And at that time, Jim thought it was a diagnosis of plantar fasciitis on his foot.
I tried to tough it out, but I really just couldn't run right anymore. I really was slowed down.
And then about 6 months later, we went on a family vacation together, his family and my family, and we went skiing. And I noticed that Jim was probably mostly staying on the green hills as opposed to going down the black slopes, and that was quite unlike Jim.
I went to see this physical therapist. She had me do some simple little things like stand on each foot, and I found out I couldn't stand and balance on my left leg for more than 2 seconds.
And then he went to see a neurologist and they couldn't find anything.
So I was poked and shocked and had spinal taps and everything else. My record was, I think, 22 or 23 vials of blood taken at one sitting. And the worst part about it, they didn't even give me a cookie or a glass of juice.
It was about 3 or 4 months after that where Jim went through an extensive series and battery of tests where he did find out what the real diagnosis was.
I think it was March 15th or 16th. I remember getting the call from his wife that told me he had ALS.
Amyotropic Lateral Sclerosis, a disease sometimes called Lou+Gehrig+Disease. It's a disease that affects the muscles and eventually renders them useless. A man's muscles atrophy, decay, and he eventually dies. There is no cure. It is a terminal illness.
I was sitting in my den, and because I saw on the caller ID who was calling, a little strange to have a guy call me on a Saturday. So I closed both doors, they're glass doors, and Linda, none of the kids were here, but Linda knew who was calling. So she was sort of pacing back and forth outside. And when I hung up, we just sat down on the stairs, and I told her, and I think it was a very human emotion. We both just started crying.